In Lab 3, we're going to look at allocating compute resources. The objective of this lab is to configure resource pools to allocate CPU. So in the lab, what we're going to do is we're going to view resource pool information and verify resource pool functionality. The purpose of resource pools is to allow us to actually carve up physical resource and decide exactly what's going to happen with that physical resource. So finance prod, any virtual machines in there under contention should be a lot more efficient than any virtual machines under finance test. First thing we need to do is just have a look at our resource pools. So we'll just come into our resource pool, edit the settings. So under complete contention of our ESXi host, any virtual machines in finance prod will get high shares, 8,000 shares to be precise. Finance test, we just edit the settings here. Any virtual machines under contention will get low shares, so 2,000 shares. So to summarize all of this, any virtual machines under contention finance prod will be more efficient for CPU resource than any virtual machines in finance test. Now, because we've got plenty of resource sitting on this host, we're not going to get a lot of problems by running the two virtual machines on the single host. So what we'll do here is we'll just take our production virtual machine, drop that into finance prod. Then what we'll do is we'll take our test machine and drop that into finance test. Now that I've done that, all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to open up some programs to actually give us some CPU contention. So we'll come to Brian05-1. And what we'll do here is we've got this little program, CPU busy. So we'll just open this with a command prompt, just to actually generate some traffic. Next thing we'll do exactly the same thing on our test machine. So right click here and just open with command prompt. And then what we'll do here is we'll just drag the two things apart just so we can see exactly what's happening on the two virtual machines. So we can see here they're both doing 3 million signs in 1 second. Now that's what I was expecting. I've got plenty of resource sitting on this host. We've only got a single virtual CPU per virtual machine, and what we've actually got on our host itself, the host has 8 logical CPUs to run the virtual machines on. So what I want to do here is just on the virtual machines is I actually want to create contention. And to do that, I'm going to tie the two virtual machines into a single processor. So we'll do it first of all in Brian05-1. So VM, edit our settings here, just come to resources, just come to advanced CPU, and what we'll do here is we'll just tie this into CPU 1. Click OK there. So again, still running quite nicely. You need to do exactly the same thing on Brian05-2. So all we'll do here, come into our VM, edit the settings of our VM, click on resources again, advanced CPU, and again we'll tie that into processor 1. So click OK at this point here. We'll just actually come back here, and what we want to do as well is we just want to open up the console for Brian05-1 so we can compare the two virtual machines side by side. So we can see here now that on Brian05-1, now it's tied into processor 1, it's actually taking 2 seconds to do that calculation. If we now have a look at server 2, we can see it's now taking 7 to 8 seconds to do the same calculation. So we can see that the shares have actually taken effect. It's taking longer now for the virtual machine with the low shares to do the same calculation as the virtual machine with the high shares. We haven't modified really the virtual machines, we've just forced them both to run on the same processor. So this does prove that sharing does work, does prove that resource pools work as well. So now that we've done all of this, what we need to do, just take away the affinities, return the virtual machines back to the way they should be configured, and that's the end of this lab. Thanks very much.